Level Up was kind enough to accept a presentation on 3D printing and modeling, which comes later. Who owns a 3D printer right now? Okay, I think a lot of you are pretty set, but let's see if you'll learn anything. Once this is over...
You know how to use it, you just have to own it.
Okay, okay.
That's the bigger one right there.
Okay, there's a difference between owning it and using it. I know what you mean. I figured if you own one, you're already using it, but I guess we got some steps here. Okay, well, when the panel's over, do critique me if you learned anything or anything I knew better. But so let's just get started. I don't call myself an expert, so let's see where I go from here. Yeah, I've been I've had at least one 3D printer for 7 years, and it's been good. So, what 3D printer do I have? Well, I'll get to that. First off, let's get to the one that matters to everyone: money and benefits. Okay, so if you look up 3D printers on Google Shopping, if you want to start from there, smaller ones go for about around 170. There's a lot of makes and models. I'll explain why in a couple slides later. And the recommended models, they'll go for around $300 to $400. But you know what? It pays to have quality, so go all out if you want the best prints. I don't want your prints to be half-butted, so really put the money into getting some quality prints here if you can. So there are the costs. This is going to keep costing you money just for filament, or in SLA type printers, where you use resin. Yeah, you're going to keep paying for resin. I only use PLA, which I'll explain later. So that goes for maybe $20 a roll. Maybe you can get a discount on rolls if you're buying on eBay or Amazon. Just get a few bucks off if you're going to keep printing and making props. All right, but you know what? This can be a rewarding hobby. I know some of y'all make your props out of cardboard or foam. 3D printing is an alternative to that. I make helmets out of foam, but I've also made a helmet out of with 3D printing, and I'd say it works pretty much the same. I just think foam's a bit lighter and a bit more flexible, whereas 3D printed plastic is harder. All right. So yeah, again, there's a lot of uses. The uses feel limitless here. So once you get a 3D printer and you start printing, you're going to be having a lot of thoughts here. What you can do with it. Yeah, it's like any skill. Once you start, you're going to be like, how can I keep doing this? Maybe make money off it. All right, let's say you want to make your own designs and print them. You know what? You can. That's another school of thought. So that's where 3D printing and 3D modeling go hand in hand. All right, so what can you make with 3D printers? It's almost limitless. Household items, put your pens in it, things for your kitchen. Anyone want to, name some random things you might want to use in your house? You can buy. What?
Little tables.
Tables, you know what? Maybe like a small 3D printed table for your desk, and you can put your action figures on it. Yeah, how about, miniatures for your toys? If you want. Oh yeah, if you want. If you don't.
Stuff for Baldwin dolls is also really nice to do on that.
Oh yeah, if you're into doll houses and Michaels doesn't have your miniatures, do that. Maybe it might be cheaper, and you print that and paint them instead of buying them from Michaels. Hey, an alternative to 3D printing for doll houses. Random stuff at Michaels. All right.
D&D terrain is a big one.
Mm-hmm. All right. You can print toys, random things, statues for your desks. I know.
Clips are great for stuff that you're supposed to keep together.
Okay. All right. So if you see those DC Direct or statues you like to have on your desk, maybe someone's already modeled it, made it available. You just gotta print it, maybe paint it. All right. Cosplay and props. I've printed helmets. I've printed staffs. I've printed swords. And you can if you know how to do a 3D model, you can model your own props. Maybe make them detailed, make them look good. So it's an alternative to handcrafting. All All right, so, and they can even be used for living spaces. So, and those are big printers that print these living spaces. You know, yeah, it sounds like a Habitat for Humanity project, printing these big, houses for, not for lower income families. That's what I think. So yes, there's a lot of uses for 3D printing. Hey, look at this kid here with the glove. That's actually, he doesn't have a hand, so those are 3D printed parts with some strings, and now he has a prosthetic hand so we can, drink, grab a cup. All right, and in the corner there, that's me with, anyone play League of Legends? Yes. Someone asked me to print them Misfortune's Blunderbuss pistol, and that took a couple weeks to get 2 of them out, and some rolls. I gave her a good deal, so again, that's an example of a prop you can print, but when it comes to making it look good, that's something else. We'll get to that. So, your first 3D printer. Now, keep in mind, 3D printing technology has actually been around since the 80s, so no one owns the technology. If you run a tech company, you want to get into 3D printing, yeah, you can. No one can stop you, even if it looks like something else, because the technology is available to everyone. No one owns it. It's like a public domain thing. It's like a hardware patent that expired. Okay, so popularity begets popularity, and there's a lot of Chinese clones that look like popular ones, but you can get a lot of mileage out of that. I will warn you, ANET is a brand of Chinese knockoff. So, and I've used those. Those can cause fires because the motherboard, the motherboard is exposed, and guess the way. And some of them, they just catch fire, and they can burn down houses, like this one in the corner here. Yeah, it can create a mess if your 3D printer catches fire. Anyway, what's the recommended one you get, assuming you have the money to afford it? I go with Creality printers. Yeah, Creality. Ender CR10. I own a CR10S. I get still using it. All right. Anyone know what resin is? It's like a gooey liquid substance. Okay. Well, the recommended brand for that is Elegoo. Elegoo. All right, and so what size? Get the biggest one you can afford. If you can go big, go big. Don't have that regret of I should have bought bigger. Yeah. For me, I can only put a 3D printer in my office, and it's 200 millimeters by 220 with a 220 height. That's like 8 inches. It's like an 8-inch cube. All right. Now, to your mind, 3D printers will make noise. So maybe put a box around it or glass around it if you don't want to hear it all the time, because most things you can print will take hours. I printed a helmet that took days. So that's like 12 hours at a time. Sometimes I run it in my sleep. That's because I trust my printer. So yeah. And when you get a 3D printer, get it running. Make sure you can trust it. Okay, so we all good on what kind of 3D printer you want to get? Okay, so Creality printers, like the one I have, most 3D printers, they're compatible with multiple types of filament. The one I use is polylactic acid, or PLA. You'll hear that a lot. That's a standard for printing. I use it a lot. I can hand out some 3D printed junk later, just so you can see what it looks like at the end of the panel. That's melted around 200 degrees, or I set it at 210. All right, others are let's see, acrylonitrile butadiene styrene. That's ABS. That has a higher melting point. It's very tough. It kind of warps more when you get it started. But so anyway, back to PLA. If you leave that in your car on a hot summer day, it will melt in your car. But ABS, well, it's tougher and has a higher melting point, so less so. There's also PETG. I don't use that, so I don't have the experience, but from what I hear, The melting point is around PLA. It's easy to print. It's more UV resistant, so it is kind of like PLA you can leave in your car. So if you want to start with that, go ahead. All right, there's also resin. There are specific printers for that. You know, it's like a liquid you put in the printer. Then, whereas the FDM printers, you know, print layer upon layer upon layer. Resin printers are different in that it actually prints upside down. Yeah, so you put the resin in the printer, in the Elegoo printer, and the shape hardens. There's also the support, and yeah, you get a resined figure. After some hours. And there are special cleaning machines for resin printers. So if you're gonna, I say go all out with 3D printing. So get the right size resin cleaning machines, just so your resin prints look good. There's also another material called TPU. I forget what it stands for, but it's durable like plastic, elastic like rubber, and that's the one used for medical applications. So it's hard and it bends, and that's what the medical professionals are using. I got asked about helping make a medical mask. I said go find an expert on that. So that's the one that has medical applications. So anyway, here's a link, xometry.com. So there's a lot of resources for 3D printing and getting to know your filaments. So yeah, to get started, starting filaments, like I said, PLA or PETG. And we have a difference here. Okay, who wants to say which one's the resin, which one's the FDM?
Resin on the right?
The one on the right is, the one on the Statue of Liberty on the right is actually the FDM. This is the more gooey-like
resin
one. Yeah, the resin one. All right, yeah. Yeah, the thing is, with FDM printers, like PLA, ABS, PETG, TPU, you can see the layers in that. With resin, it looks like one big mold. All right. Okay, so we good on getting to know filaments, materials. Okay. Next slide. Okay, here's something fun. Finding models of what you want to print. The ones you should know are Thingiverse, which is sponsored by a major 3D printing company. Already I forget, I'm sorry. All right, there's myminifactory.com. There's Yegi.com, which is like the Google search engine when it comes to finding 3D prints. So if you Google, yada yada yada, give me a name of something. Yeah, that's right. 3D print a Pikachu. You might be directed to Yegi, and Yegi will pull up everything from Thingiverse, My Mini Factory, maybe more sites. Okay, now there's actually apps you can use if you want to scan objects. The one that's in the top here, the top image, that's called Clone, Qlone. You can download from the App Store for free, but they'll charge you to, if you want to make models. So here's how Clone works. All right, I'm gonna mime it. So you hold your phone, then you print a grid. All right, then you put the grid down. All right, then you put your object on the grid. All right. Then you give your object a 360-degree walk around, and that and with that smartphone app, you have your object. Then you pay $5. Actually, okay. How about we take a look at one of the sites right now? Who's curious? Give me something. What do you want to print?
Batman.
A what?
Batman.
Batman. Okay, well, Thingiverse is my go-to website, so. Yeah, let's get the.
The Wi-Fi cooperates.
Yeah, come on, Wi-Fi, cooperate. Oh. It's kicking in. Okay, this is Thingiverse. Again, My Mini Factory. If you want to, I guess that's where you go for if you want to do Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. So Thingiverse has a lot of those. And I looked at the Wi-Fi slow here, so it looks like it. All right. Interesting things. Here's a Star Destroyer card. You know, they can print these cards that have pieces you can assemble. Yeah, they make great gifts. So if you want to be the guy who gives out gifts at places, yeah, 3D printing can make that. All right, Batman. Yeah, Batman's a popular subject, so you're gonna find a lot of Batman-related things. Let's see, we have a Batman cookie cutter, we have a Batman bust. All right, we got some search results here. Yeah, convention Wi-Fi is what it is. Oh, look, Batman cufflinks. Yeah, so you can print those out, put a pin on it, and you can wear them. And make them look nice. Batman fidget spinner. Oh, we have a helmet from BVS. There's a lot of results here. Okay, so finding models for what you want to print, no problem. All right. Okay, let's go back to our slide PowerPoint here. All right, now when it comes, and there's also this thing I found called capturingreality.com, which from what I understand is making like 3D objects from your photographs. I think that's still in development, so check that out for yourself, capturingreality.com. All right, and if let's say what you want doesn't exist, you may as well make it, so learn how to do 3D modeling and use CAD software, CAD software. I'll get into that later. Okay, so y'all good on models and such? All right, and the file format is .stl or .obg. I used to be one for papercraft, so .obg was what I would use, and I'd load that in a program called Pepicura. Looks like papercraft has kind of died out over the years, so now that because of 3D printing, that's my guess. Because why cut things and fold things when you can just sit back and print, from a 3D printer. That's my hypothesis. Okay, now, once we find our models, now we go to telling our 3D printer how to print it. This is where we use slicer programs. This gives instructions to your printer. Yeah, you see? Your printer on your own can't do it, so you have to tell it what to do with a slicer program. And one thing in 3D printing, we speak in millimeters. All right? So your 3D models will export to that G-code format on, let's say, a micro SD card. It's in your, in your USB drive. All right, now just keep in mind, every 3D printer is different. If you go from an ANET printer to a Creality printer, you got to start over again with your prints. So if you still have files you use on your ANET printer, get rid of them and start over again by telling your slicer how to print it for your Creality printer. All right, now the slicer of choice is a Cura. There are others out there. And if let's say you have a Raspberry Pi type computer, you can use Raspberry Pis to be just for 3D printing. Okay, how about I'll demonstrate the slicer program. So I open up Cura right here. Okay, where's my... Okay, I got a folder for things I want to have. Pick a video game. I might have it in my folder here.
Kingdom Hearts.
I'm not one for that. Sorry.
Resident Evil.
You know what? I have a Nintendo folder. Let's go into that. Yeah, if you're getting into 3D printing, you probably just want save random things in a folder. Okay, Zelda's here, so let's see what I have. Okay, ooh, here's a good one. Okay. I'll wait for the, okay, slicer program's open. All right, let's say I want to drag this Sculptura. Yeah, this model actually has a token on the inside of it. Okay, so I'm telling it to do it at a height of 0.2 millimeters. So every layer will be 0.2 millimeters, and I can adjust it if I want it. Make it 2.4 to make it go faster. So it'll be less detailed. So keep it in mind if you're going to do detailed miniature prints, like for your D&D games, you're going to do, maybe you want to do 0.12 or 0.08. Yeah, do increments of 0.04 here. All right, and the less of the layer height, the longer it'll take, especially for the sculpture out here. All right, I want to go back to 0.2. Yeah, I don't know why my slicer program's going slow. A few things open. Anyway, so yeah, there's the wall thickness. So it'll make a wall around it to then do an infill. Alright, so like say, so for this setting, 1.2, so it'll get 3 walls, top and bottom, and then an infill of 20%, and it'll do it in a triangle direction. There's actually a lot more different here, like there's a square grid, lines, cubes. Triangles aren't bad. Preview it. And you can see where it's going to go. Alright, triangles back. Alright, so I set up so I have a lot of settings. For my printer, I do 215 for temperature. That's around normal for PLA. Also, your plate is going to need to be heated up, so the PLA can stick to that. I'll put it at 60 degrees. All right, there's also your speed. So just be patient with 3D printing, and mine's around 30, 25. So yeah, for your printers and your prints and your slicer, you got to research standard settings. So that's why you have the Google. All right, retraction here, that actually matters, so you don't get stringing. I get strings anyway, and I'm willing to cut them off. All right. Okay, anything about the slicers here, or y'all good on that? So Cura is free, if you want to use that. All right, and there's our sculptura. It says 4.5 hours to print at 28 grams, 9.27 meters. All right, so if you have a micro SD card in your computer, you save, and you put it in your printer. Yeah, my printer has like a screen, and that's where I go to. All right, print my sculptura. Okay, we go on slicers. Okay, all right. Hopefully, troubleshooting, you might encounter some problems like that happened. So one thing I recommend is like what I use and what a lot of people do, put a piece of glass on it. My Creality printer came with a special glass to put on it, and when you put the glass down, it's recommended you put blue painter's tape on it. So that painter's tape you find at Home Depot, that works. That gets your prints to stick. That's definitely a plus, since that won't damage your metal plate. All right, so in your slicer, I recommend you set a brim, just so it gets your nozzle going. So that's how you find out your first layer is going to do good, instead of just missing a layer, and then filament will just spray all over, and your print will be ruined. Always look at your first layer, or first few layers, just to see if things are going right. Okay, now, I already told you about my that gun I printed for Misfortune. Yeah, I had a clogged nozzle on that, so I had to replace it and resume. So have extra nozzles in case of clogging. Helps to have spare parts. Also, the nozzle that's standard is 0.4 millimeters. There are, let's say, 0.2 millimeters, and that's something you set in your slicer, and you'll get more detailed miniatures that way. You really want to see those details in your your miniatures, for D&D and such. Okay, and specific issues, I just say research it if it's a problem, like stringing, layer separation, not sticking. Okay, an advantage of the Creality is if it looks a little, looks like it's raised a bit, you can actually, there's a Z stepper. So if you print your brim, it looks off, you can go to Z step, turn it, and it'll lower your print nozzle. Okay, and like I said, most prints can really go for hours, even miniatures. So please be patient, do not rush. Do check from time to time if it's going well. Look at the first layer, first few layers. Get your prints, make sure it's going good before you go to bed on it. Okay, anything about troubleshooting? Okay, well, there's definitely a lot of trial and error. Now, just to help with your calibration, make sure you don't get any layers that are off, none of those can be janky. Print small. On Thingiverse and all those sites, there's models, there's a cube of models that has an X, a Y, and a Z on it, and people use these measurement tools to make sure it's exactly 20 millimeters, all across. So yeah, there's a lot of test objects out there. And then you will also see a lot of these boat figurines. We call those benchies. Yeah. So with benchy, you turn your support off, and if done right, you'll get a clean boat. All right. So benchy, cubes, and there are these things called heat towers. So, and maybe you're just in a different area of the world that's hotter or colder than usual. So it helps to have a heat tower, so it tells you the right heat you can put your printer at. Okay, so 3 things to look for on Thingiverse to get your prints right. Cubes, benchy, heat towers. Okay, it's been a while since I actually calibrated my printer, so yeah, I'm just good with I'm just good right now, so maybe I'm off with some things. My printer's still stringing, but I'm willing to clip those strings off. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so if you're happy with your prints, you're happy with your prints. But let's say you want to hide those layers. There are ways to do that with finishing techniques. Maybe for your props, get some sandpaper to really smooth them down. So you're going to do a lot of smoothing. Research solvents like acetone works for ABS. And here's my tip. Let's say you're printing miniatures, figurines. I like to put dioramas and snow globes. Do have a soldering iron available. Those soldering irons get hot and they can melt your prints together. Those little, I have these like little guys standing on a plastic disc, but I may have to cut the support off and gotta attach these guys since it came off. So it helps to have a soldering iron to melt plastic pieces. Yeah, that misfortune one I showed earlier, it actually stopped midway in some places. So I had to, replace the nozzle, get it going again. I even had to, go back into my slicer program, lower that barrel, and go back to where I left off. And then I had to reattach those pieces with glue, and use a soldering iron to hide the glue and whatnot. Yeah, hopefully my buyer knows how to. It's up to her to do the finishing techniques. Anyway, if you want a metal finish, use primer, then chrome spray paint. Let's say you're going to print Ant-Man's helmet, because that's has a chrome silver finish. Okay, so and get acrylic paints. Yeah, so you can paint your figurines here, like my Fallout bobbleheads. Yeah, I used some sort of watercolor, paint on it on accident, and I just went with it, and the paint was chipping off. Whoa. Well, so yeah, get some acrylic paint. So again, smoothing your 3D prints, something you gotta research. So hopefully you find the right smoothing. So yeah, it's kind of a magic trick. Your prints don't look like they're printed. Keep that in mind. Okay, any masquerade types looking to 3D print their stuff? Okay, well, you might do that. You can use 3D prints, and I thought I'd probably mention this if you had that in mind. if you're going to 3D print your props, your costumes, don't make them, they should not look like they're 3D printed. Think Fool Us with Penn and Teller, how they always ask questions, and if you can fool them, you get a show. So when it comes to masquerades, craftsmanship and handiwork get you points. You got the stage presence, you got the accuracy, but they're going to really want to look at the hard work you put into it. So if you can make your 3D prints not look that way, they don't see the layers, they can't tell if it's resin, hey, that'll get you points. I mean, this entire, someone designed 3D printed power armor and wore it. And I think that may have won him a contest. All right, hey, if you can provide proof you designed it, that'll get you some points. Though you got to be honest in costume competitions, so do say where you found the models, or be like, yeah, I found it on Thingiverse or My Mini Factory. Okay, so keep that in mind if you plan to do a masquerade. Craftsmanship counts, and if you're going to do 3D printed objects, really put the finishing into it. Yeah, if they're just white, if it's just PLA, you can see the layers, it's all white, someone's going to win. Someone else might win it. Yeah, because your printer did all the work, not you. Because your printer may as well be winning the contest, but printers are not eligible. All right, here's something fun to try, lithopaint. It's where you take your photographs and stick them in your slicer program or a website that specializes in, turning your photos into 3D prints. They look neat. I like this one of prints here, which is, people like to print 5 photos, surround them in a light, and makes a nice lamp. So that's one thing you can do. Hey, they may look cool. Try it. Helps with black and white photos work best, or solid colors like I've taken images of the artist known as Josh Agel, known for his pop art. So I can make lithopaints of that, but I don't want to make the guy mad. And here's one thing you can try. Set up your 3D printer so you set it for get the object, or have it draw. Attach a pen or a Sharpie to it. Hey, have your printer do the drawing. But in this age of AI and ethics, is that ethical? It depends. If the artist has been dead for centuries, go ahead, redraw have your printer draw the Mona Lisa. Da Vinci's not going to complain. You own the art, so you drew it to begin with, and you put it in the printer, and you can say it's yours, and have the proof you made it. Don't make money from independent living artists without their consent. Don't have your 3D printer replicate their art like it was hand-drawn. No, that is not ethical. So that's one use for a 3D printer. So yeah, there could be some legal hurdles. I do sell things based on other designs. That's a confession. Hey, I am waiting for people to complain, but then again, they're like video game items, so I guess I should hear something from the video game company first. Like I just sell these Sierra Madre casino prints, and I make in Fallout bobbleheads, and I also put things in snow globes. So yes, I think I'm waiting for someone to complain about it. Yeah, I know there was an issue earlier of someone made a design of Chainsaw Man meets Anya from Spy Family. I'm looking at you. Do we have Anya there? Yeah, like a mashup of that. And then a toy company actually made that without the artist's permission. But then later they put out a statement saying we've had some talks with the artist and we're good. So try not to run into that. Anyway, what you really want to know, can you make money with 3D printing? Of course you can. Just make it available, charge. If you don't have a 3D printer, if you just want miniatures, you can go to a library and maybe they'll let you use it for free, just for a few hours. Just find the models, take it to your library, and you get your minis. And you know what? You can make your own designs, and there are websites for selling them. People make armor you can cosplay with, but they're not available on Thingiverse or My Mini Factory. own those designs. Maybe there's a bit variation from their source material so they can get away with it. And if, let's say, you put the STLs on, those free search websites, they will complain. So they have the rights to it. Anyway, selling prints on other people's designs can be legal-wise. You don't want to get called out on Reddit or anything, but if it's an original design, don't sell it. You can get away with something based on an existing video game prop or something. Yeah, here I cannot explain the legal system here when it comes to that sort of thing. So again, I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. So yeah, corporate stuff from movies and TV. If unless the lawyers come down on you, may as well. But if they sent you a cease and desist, please, that's where you stop. Okay, so that's what I have on 3D printers. Anything you want to add or say before we get to the fun part?
So I've had this Ender 3 for a good while, right? I started using it, then I stopped using it, and then when I started again, it just kept stringing. Oh. And I adjusted the base and I adjusted everything to how it was before and everything, and it just keeps stringing. So how do you think I should fix that?
That's research. Why is my 3D printer stringing? Though I've heard retraction is the issue in the slicer, so that could be it. Okay. So definitely an issue. So that's my take. Again, Google it, research it. Yeah, a lot of my answers here are Google it. Yeah, or go on Reddit 3D printing. Show them your take photos. Ask why is my printer doing this. Get some answers there. So if I don't have the answers, I'll say, there are ways you can find the answer yourself. Research. Okay. All right, now here's one thing I probably do different than other people who talk about 3D printing. 3D modeling. Make your own. Make your own designs, print them, maybe make money off them. All right. There's a lot of complicated ones for making more detailed, complicated objects like, Cthulhu monsters or detailed busts and faces. Like, Blender is one, So for complicated things like Blender, go on, find classes, YouTube tutorials. To begin with 3D modeling, I recommend Tinkercad, which I'll get into. There's also Shaper 3D, which has a lot of, that's one you got to pay for, but there are a lot of YouTube videos if you want to make specific things. AutoCAD is one, Fusion 360. Okay, well, how do I do a 3D print modeling demonstration? I have my CAD software open. Yeah, it used to be I would do these panels, just do the CAD challenge, but then I figured I may as well talk about 3D printing more. So let's create something new. I'm in Tinkercad. Just make an account. It gives you a lot of objects to make from. You can also import other STL designs, but there are limits. There's a 25 megabyte limit. There's a polygon limit. Okay, let's make something new. Let's make something interesting, or I can show you a video on making a mug. Okay, let's make something. Throw something out there. Something new.
Nuka-Cola bottle.
Let's go back to Thingiverse here. I know. Let's not reinvent the wheel here. There's a lot of Nuka-Cola bottles here. If you can say load. And here's one from Fallout 4. Get that ad out of the way. See, that's already made. I always ask, so let's do something interesting. Let's do something new. Let's do something that... What? Microphone. You know what? How about I make one anyway? Okay. All right. So we'll just take a cylinder here, enlarge that. And we grab a sphere here. Enlarge that. microphone or an ice cream? See, that's like 2 objects there. All right, there's some more. There's definitely different options here for shapes. Shape generators.
And that is not ice cream companies.
All right. I'm curious what this is here. All right, this is something I can. I guess this is one way of molding a. All right, I thought that looked pretty cool there. So yeah, Tinkercad has plenty of options here. All right, though microphone is kind of. Actually, I think this shape would be. Let's see what we can do with this. I have something in mind with this cone shape here. Okay. So I enlarge that. Make it taller. Alright, how about I bring it down here beneath the threshold? Make it taller. Because microphones aren't exactly a total cylinder. It's got that, goes like this. And that's what I'm doing with my cone here. Down. Okay, delete that. Okay, definitely looks, so try and ignore that, this pointy part beneath the threshold here. And definitely looks more like a microphone instead of a ball on some sort of ball on a stick. Okay, anything else we can design? Any ideas?
A coin?
What?
A coin?
A coin. Okay, well, coins are flat objects, so let's get our, let's get a cylinder here. Yeah, don't worry, coins are good. Okay, suppose you want to have, okay, here's one thing to keep in mind. How about a coin with, okay. Then we put hole there, so there's a hole in it. Yeah. Okay, let's have some fun here. I'll just do a scribble design. How about a spiral? See how our spiral works here. Done. Let's have a coin with a spiral on it. So yeah, kind of an odd coin there, with just a cylinder and a shape on it, and a hole in the middle. Okay, pretty neat, right? Okay, how about we do one more design? Let's make something cool. Any suggestions? What?
Mach 5.
What?
The Mach 5 from Speed Racer.
Ooh, a car. Okay. Again, yeah. That's definitely one of those more complicated things you learn Blender for. But let's see, let's start with any cars that are available we can mess with. Again, there's probably something on Thingiverse like that. Okay, how about we just make a different car here? Okay, car body. Let's drag that. Okay. All right, let's make a crazy car here. We can go on Thingiverse and import things. All right, what should we add on it? Let's put a skull on it. Skulls are cool. Okay, see, now we got a death racer here. Yeah. So open up Tinkercad. It's free to use. There are limits, but you'll learn some things. Yeah, it's pretty simple to use once you get the hang of it. I made some dioramas for snow globes with it. car with a skull on it. Anything else I should put on it? A what? A boogie ball? Pokeball. You know, I think there is a Pokeball here. Yeah, there's a Pokeball here in Thingiverse. Go just and Tinkercad. Okay, the Pokeball meal. Okay, the Pokeball mobile. All right, Pokeball's driving. Okay, now once you, all right, I think we're good with our Pokeball death car. So let's go to export, then download everything in this design. STL. Our slicer's open. Let's wait for the export. Okay, and it's downloading. Okay, just downloaded that, and we're ready to print it. And at a height of okay, so it's about 56 millimeters across, 81, you know, in length, 55 millimeters in height. I can adjust it, you know, if I go here, you know, by percent or by numbers. All right, so I'm just gonna wait for it to slice. Oh, that'll take about 7 hours and 35 minutes. Let's make it something we can put in our pocket. So, let's set the, let's give it a height of, how about make it, I think a length of 2 inches do good. So that's like 51 millimeters. And we don't need it that big. Okay, save to disk, 2.5 hours. Less filament. I think we should be good on that. Look, yeah, so it'll be like this big. Okay, well, I think I covered everything I want to do. So, any questions, concerns?
Is that solid or hollow?
Oh, yes. This would be a solid object that I just loaded. But yeah, you can. Yeah, maybe you might find something that's hollow. You can make something that's hollow, like let's go back to our program here. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. I can make it. I can, maybe make the skull hollow. So there's like a skull, like that's lower right here. Yeah, so there's like a hidden skull in it. Why do that? Again, I'm just coming up with things. Okay, I'm going to show you a video. All right, I'm going to play a video. You tell me what I just did. So I put a cat there. All right, thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of your level up. So I surround it with a cube. Look what I did. The cat is now like a hollow object, like by setting it to hold. I cut that cube in half. Alright, now I made a similar cube, a similar prism. Now I surrounded that cat with 2 cubes. Now I put like a hollow cylinder there. So, can anyone explain what I'm doing here? That's right, a mold. Yeah, you can actually make your designs and hire a company to do your molds, but this is one way to do it. 3D print your molds, like with with 2 solid objects covering your cat object that you made. I know, that's one pretty interesting, right? Okay, I think that's everything I want to cover. So, y'all learn anything? Y'all feel better about 3D printing now? What?
It's hard to get into that field, yes. Like, you have the fun, you know, the basics.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, you know what? Get your printer, start printing. Okay.
Back in the day when I was using Blender like 2.3 something.
I have never used Blender, so I can't answer, cannot talk about it. So, but I'll say, definitely one thing you gotta take classes on, do research if you want to make more complicated objects. So, I'm not much of a Blender guy, this is a beginning thing, so yeah, start with Tinkercad to make your stuff. Okay, that'll be it. Enjoy the rest of your Level Up Expo. Let the